just use your fucking words and communicate clearly, dude.
Yeah, I feel like it's people being afraid of saying no. Like it's the whole Byung-Chul Han thing of like excess positivity, where it's coming into interpersonal relationships and it's also coming into like even just like a service industry encounter, uh, or like yeah, like you're doing it's like calling leads or whatever. They just don't want to tell you no because they know that you want to hear yes, or it's your job to like try to sell. And so
Right.
people would just like rather avoid the whole scenario. And it's like you're actually making me have more work to do now, even though you know that you're not ever going to actually pick up the thing that I'm
E-
trying to sell you.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny. And then there's been a couple times where people are like, oh my gosh, like you're like practically harassing me, and it's like I've followed up with you like 4 times,
Mm-hmm.
and like literally all you needed to do was say no, and then like I would not hit you up ever again. Like
Yeah.
this is actually super fucking standard. You're just like a little bitch. Um, well, honestly, that I feel like I've talked about this before because this is like a thing that I've given a lot of thought about, which is like, a lot of people are bad at confrontation, and I
Mm-hmm.
could obviously be better as I get older and I care less. I have gotten better.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
strength and a little bit of a like a fault as well, kind of.
yeah, and like and what was I gonna say? There's like I worked with a guy back in the day. This is my boss back in the day, and he was just this beta, and he was a really nice guy. The funny thing was, is he was this really nice guy, and he was really handsome. But he had this horrible longhousing slob wife, right?
Mm.
And
Why are you pinning
and she
yourself
was
to that? What the fuck?
it was wild, dude, and it was cool, and it was wild too because he played in like a really popular local band, and
Hmm.
like it was just like this guy. It was like the world was this guy's fucking oyster, right? And he was just stuck with this horrible bitch, and he was really beta, and there was you could kind of figure out why, and I don't even really use that earnestly very often, that
Yeah, yeah.
phrase, but it's just
It does
calling it.
describe a type of guy though. Like it
It's a
is kind of cringe using it like all the time or being like, yeah, that's beta and I'm like alpha and that whatever. But there are types of men that you're like, that's a soy boy, like that's beta. That's like a
yeah,
real that's a thing.
it's a thing, it's a phrase for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, his whole thing was like he would just constantly it was the like smile and laugh and say yeah guy a whole bunch, right?
Mm.
Like, and I remember on the rare times when like confrontation would happen, he would just go from 0 to 60 and just blow up,
Freak out.
right? And it's funny because it's just this whole thing of like the difficult thing. The difficult thing is to like have the like balanced and well measured response, as opposed to just being like I'm going to be a total fucking uh, doormat, or I'm going to completely spurg out on this person and start screaming,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's the thing. It's like not addressing the way that you're like, if you end up getting to that point where you're screaming at someone, if you're this guy, he's probably let himself be walked on by that individual over the course of some amount of time, and it's built up to this level because he's never actually addressed it. And so it's like now I'm pushing down this feeling of whatever
Well,
my ego's getting threatened.
even this would just be like even with like customers that would just like be acting inappropriate.
Oh wow.
There's no context. He just blows up, and it's just the whole thing of like you're relying on passion above everything else, right?
Mm,
And so like
no center.
instead of yeah, exactly. So instead of having discipline and having it be informed by will, you're either just like going with fear and avoiding any confrontation, or you're just going with like rage and just blowing up, and you're never actually like in control like a fucking adult.
Mm. And when you're
Uh,
blowing up like that, you're also kind of running away from the confrontation because you're like you're
yes,
hoping that you do
exactly.
the big like thing where you stand up and act really big and tall and you scare off the prey or the predator, you know.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that's bad. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyways, Donald Trump had an assassination attempt on his life.
I mean, dude, geez, yeah, that was a pivot. If anything, it's kind of shocking, almost like the shots that came from the crowd.
I
Jeez.
know exactly. Dude, first black president.
Dude, for real. He's for real got street cred now. Honest to God.
He does. He actually got shot.
It's great. He's got a felony rap sheet, which I mean, they're all trumped up charges of bullshit, but I mean, he's got a
They're
felony
what
rap
up Trump?
sheet.
They're what up
Oh,
charges?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
we
Fun
got him.
time. All right, but
Um,
yeah, they are bullshit charges, but he's got a felony rap sheet and he's been shot. That's hard.
it's pretty hard. Yeah, I mean, speaking of beta males,
Oh yeah,
shooters
yeah.
down, flash in the pan, sad. Actually sad. Killed at least one guy at
Hmm.
the
I think
at
two
the
people
event.
died.
Okay, right. So last I was up to date on it, it was somebody was critically wounded,
Yeah.
and one person was dead outright. This guy, a volunteer. I don't even know his name. We're not the show that gives specific information like names and shit. Um, but he died protecting his wife and daughter.
Mm.
As a volunteer fire chief, just a good man by all accounts.
Wow.
Which is going to be interesting to see how the media
Well,
deals
he's a
with
piece of
that.
shit, dude. He's at a Trump rally. He's a MACA
Well,
guy. He know he's a piece of garbage.
exactly.
Deplorable.
Dude, I mean, as people on the Patreon probably already know, like we tried to record this yesterday, and then that got fucked.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. Like I did the intro last time we talked about this to just kind of like go over the basic information of it. But like,
Hmm.
I mean, do you want to go over that? I mean, is there even a point in going over that? I can't imagine anyone's going to listen to this. And
Yeah, no.
not
Let's just
know.
give a quick thing so we know what we're talking about. We're on the same page.
Yeah, and let's have it be real quick because I feel
Yeah.
like yesterday I was like it's going to be quick, and then it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, this is just real quick. Donald Trump, he's having a rally or an event, a campaign event in Bethel, Pennsylvania. He has people standing out there. He's talking to them, and all of a sudden he gets shot at. Boom, boom, boom. I think three
Yeah, you hear about.
times you can hear.
I
Oh,
thought it was like 4 or 5 shots.
oh wow. Okay, there's a lot of shots. I think they said like up to 6 shots or 9 or something. I
Yeah,
clearly
something
heard
like that.
3 when I first watched the video, but also I mean, who knows really. So
The shooter was a spray and pray kind of guy.
got multiple shots off over the course of like a couple of seconds. It wasn't like, it was like boom, 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 boom. Like it was, there was multiple times. It wasn't a quick burst. And so he gets shot. You see Donald Trump puts his hand up to his ear in the middle of the shots ringing out, pulls it away.
Hits the deck.
And he hits the deck, and because he realizes, oh, I just got shot. So he hits the
Or
deck.
as CNN would report, he fell down on stage.
He fell down on stage amongst loud clatter and noises, and then Secret Service cut the whole thing short for unknown reasons. But yeah, so Secret Service rushes in. They're trying to like keep him down, keep him covered. He stands up. He says something apparently about his shoes or whatever. I'm not sure, but he stands up.
He wants them to let him grab his shoes before they take him off stage.
Okay, so he's trying to make sure he's got his shit. He's like, all right, I'm not walking out of here. This isn't going to be the morning after walk of shame.
I'm like picturing him like a 20-year-old white girl, like holding her phone and like an iced Starbucks drink in one hand, and like holding a bag in the other. He's like, let me get my shoes.
And so he gets up. He's like still like that strong-willed maniac kind of person. It's admirable, but it is like a crazy thing. He gets up. His security team is trying to keep him covered. They've got a really short lady standing in front of him, so his entire chest and torso and head is in view. He puts his fist up.
She like bends down.
Yeah, I think I don't really know what was going on there. There's a lot of hubbub about the Secret Service being real questionable, which we'll get into here shortly.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing to talk about.
But he puts his fist up in the air. He's got blood streaking across his face. He yells out, fight, something along those lines. He's giving energy to the crowd. The crowd goes wild. They get up. People didn't run away, really. I mean, people kind of skirmished and moved. The guy got shot, obviously. There's panic and commotion. But they're still there. And then he gets up. He's calling out. People stand up in the background. Even in the line of fire where he was shot, you see them clapping and roaring. Very powerful moment. The crowd's excited. They get him out of there. Ultimately, eventually, but all of that goes down, and they get the camera shots of him, blood across the face. He's got the the hunter glare, if you will, with the eyes kind of closed a little bit of that,
Oh
the
yeah.
brow
Oh, I
strong.
thought I thought the hunter glare was where your eyes are fully closed and there's a crack pipe hanging
Yeah,
out.
yeah, not a Hunter Biden, the hunter like in the wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I immediately thought that too. I was like, fuck, not Hunter Biden. But yeah, so that's what happened. I mean, they got him out of there, and then I was seeing reports that night, and I'm not sure if
Uh-huh.
this is real or not, but that he was planning on still going out to the UFC event that happened that night. Like Trump was like, I'm fucking getting back out there. I'm talking to the people. He's
Right.
like immediately just like he's not even phased by it. Like he's like, I'm here doing this thing. It's very badass, really.
It is extremely badass. Like I talked about yesterday, I generally do a pretty good job of not being like emotionally invested in this kind of stuff, and I think that the whole like lionizing political individuals is generally kind of gay, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't fall into that. Um, but like the reaction to what happened was extremely hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like honestly, I've been saying I'm in my era with this word, and I usually don't say it on the show, but I'm just gonna say it, dude. Trump truly established himself as a true real nigga with that one.
Oh damn.
Uh, standing up, blood on your face, fist in
Honest.
the air. And one of the funniest aspects of this is like the redditors and libs on Twitter talking about like that's actually like a really weird uh that's like a really weird way to react, and it's like you people
Yeah.
literally can't comprehend doing something that's brave.
It's a, have you ever been shot at? All right, well then shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Like, how would
um
you know how you're gonna? What's a proper way to react to getting shot at? You know what I mean? Like that's
Pissing your
crazy.
pants and staying on the ground in a fetal position.
Yeah, calling for your mama.
Yeah, and that's the whole well, and that's the whole thing, right? Is that like that's what they were expecting, and it's well, that's the funny thing is that it does genuinely suck for them that like Trump had an assassination attempt against his life. That sucks, and so it that makes that doesn't make them look good.
I mean, no.
And also the fact that and we can get into that because that's the big thing I'm interested in. But the fact that he looked like literally the coolest person in the world when it happens,
Mm-hmm.
like is definitely a major blow for them. I mean, they just run on that image.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I
they're good.
mean?
Yeah, I mean it's massive. That's I was saying this last episode, and I'm gonna kind of probably go back over some ground that we talked about when
When you say last episode, do we mean
I mean the
the lost
emergency one.
episode?
Yeah, the
Yeah, that
lost
no one will
file.
ever hear.
Yeah, yeah. So no, it doesn't really matter for listeners, but just for you, um, imagery is powerful, and so it's like that. Seeing that kind of image, and it's spreading around the internet. People are making memes of it. I saw a man got it tattooed on his fucking back. I've seen crazy different things, but it's a very powerful thing, and I think that images really transform a lot of the mind, a lot better than like concepts do. Or a
Yeah.
lot better than like just reading some shit or whatever. And I think that that's like going to go a long way as far as political imagery, and getting people really fired up around him. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny. It looks cool. He seems like he's pretty badass. Him wanting to get back and talk to his supporters is badass, and it shows like some level of like connection where he wants to talk with the people. Now maybe it's ego fueled. Like he's like, this is like, I just got shot out. I gotta get back up. I have to reclaim, like, they
Oh,
didn't get me,
totally.
motherfuckers. And that's even like
I
somewhat
wouldn't even.
admirable.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother pushing back against that. Like he's still a politician. It's like, dude, this is the best photo op of your entire life.
Yeah,
Take advantage of it right now.
and he used it. And I feel like Biden. I mean, he wouldn't have gotten shot at. But imagine if Biden got shot at on stage, he would have fallen over. Hitting the ground would have given him an aneurysm almost immediately. Like there would have been no getting back up. The bullet wouldn't have killed him. He would have died just from senior complications. And so
That's
you got like Trump, he
yeah.
gets up, he's like strong still. He's got his wits about him, even though he just got hit. I mean, it's to me, the election is basically decided in that moment. If it wasn't decided before, that moment decided the election. Absolutely. Especially on the back heels of the fucking debacle that's been the Biden debate and the fallout from that.
Well, no, and this is just like I don't even know. I don't even know like how to even talk about like because it's like you want to like avoid uh you want to avoid being really hyperbolic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I don't really know if it's possible to overstate this shit. Like it's so Jover, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's done, you know. It's done, and I don't know. I mean, that's where it gets into. And okay, you know, I want to be totally clear here. I'm being conspiratorial. I'm being conspiratorial,
Ooh,
and
we would
and
never
totes.
dare.
Yeah, well, and also like for the record, I do also find this aspect like more boring because I think that there's a lot of like confirmed stuff that's interesting, but
Yeah.
like uh, there's like obviously a case to be made that makes it seem fishy that like people would want him to be killed, and the
Mm-hmm.
way that the Secret Service handled this whole thing, and the fact that it's this 20-year-old kid who's like basically completely politically inscrutable, who has no social media footprint and was on the roof of a place with a direct sight on the stage, and that roof wasn't covered,
And
and
it
there's
wasn't far.
five there's 5 recorded fucking documented minutes of Trump supporters at the rally yelling at police and Secret Service that there was a guy up on a fucking roof with a gun,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's
I mean, that's all
interesting.
fishy. That's crazy. I mean,
It's
rooftops.
extremely fishy.
If you
It's
watch
it would
any
be
movie,
insane to not think it is.
if you watch any movie about a presidential assassination, or not even about an assassination attempt or anything, but like a speech given, even in fucking Batman, dude, if you watch anything with a political figure out in the public, you're gonna see their Secret Service clearing rooftops all around, posted up on rooftops. It's like the number one thing that they do is get to
It,
the rooftops.
it's like a cliche.
And they just didn't get to this rooftop. And from looking at it, it doesn't seem like it's not like there's a bunch of buildings around and this one's like, not a good side line of sight, and it's just like there's no way someone would be on it. It's like one of the few buildings in the area that are in a good line of sight, and it's not very far away. And I've been seeing people like leftists and stuff are like, oh well, it was outside of the perimeter, that's why they didn't like clear the rooftop or whatever. They set up some
That's so
perimeter,
fucking retarded.
whatever
That's
it
so
is. It's like,
fucking
okay,
retarded.
maybe that's the perimeter should be wider. Like, what are we, why can a man with a fucking AR-15 style rifle is what I've been reading. I don't know what the fucking gun was, but that's what the language is that they're using around it, which is just also some like lib shit. Because they're like, oh, gun control, gun violence, blah blah.
Yes. Yes.
But
Well,
if
and
you can make,
of course, they're fucking doing that.
oh yeah, yeah, I saw some fucking post that was like, I wish people would care this much when it was a classroom and not a presidential candidate.
Right. Well, yeah,
Like,
I've been looking out on because I think I said this yesterday. I'll always whenever something big happens, I'll check Reddit to see what the State Department thinks,
yeah,
and like tons of people just being like, like remember when Trump said just get over it when a bunch of kids got killed, like have you just get over it, Don?
yeah,
And it's just weird shit. It's just weird shit. The big thing that people are basically doing now is, and again, like we're in the scrambling phase right now.
oh yeah, man,
Actually, I have some thoughts on that because I think things have dried up tremendously in the last 24 hours. But the big thing that people are trying to do right now is say he was a registered Republican,
yeah,
and it's complete fucking bullshit because you have to register as a Republican to vote in the closed primary, which is something that plenty of leftists do to try to make it so that they can make strategic
yeah,
moves on who is actually going to be the opponent that their candidate's running against. It's not rocket science. I'm a registered Democrat still when I primaried for Bernie.
hmm. I feel like they ought to let all of those things be just open, and then maybe you just get to only vote once. Like you can't vote in both of them,
Yeah,
but
I
you
mean,
should be
I don't
able
know.
to
It's
do
it's
whatever.
it's a
But
state
whatever.
level thing. I don't
Yeah.
I don't have super strong opinions on it. It's so fine print.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's what we do know. What we do know is he's a registered Republican, and so everybody's going. Oh, I mean, people are are jumping 50 steps ahead from that little bit of information they're extrapolating from, and it's
People
very
are saying a
predictable.
lot. People are saying a lot of different things about that. They're saying, "Oh, okay, this is proof that Republicans are fed up with Trump's bullshit." That's one line of thought I've heard, which is insane. Another one is like, "Oh, then he must be like this must be an inside job by the Trump campaign to like fake an assassination attempt and then like put him up so that he has this really good photo op and he has all this momentum." Which seems insane that you get a kid that who knows what kind of shooter he is or not, and you try to have him shoot something that close. Like if this was all planned, getting him to nick the president's ear from that distance,
There's no way. There's
that's
no way.
crazy to do. That's a crazy risk to take for like a possible
Reminds me
photo op.
in so Don DeLillo is this like postmodern author that I'm fond of, and he has this book Libra, which is him just kind of doing this kind of fictionalized account of the Kennedy assassination. And his theory, which I kind of like, is that the CIA was trying to stage a false flag and just take a shot at him, and then accidentally just blew his fucking head off, which is funny. It's like probably not very realistic. It's like kind of a joke.
But it's basically what people are saying here.
But basically what people are saying here, the fact that I mean Trump survived, not having his temple blown out by this bullet by like centimeters,
Mm-hmm.
like at most.
I mean, he hit his ear, so yeah.
It hit his fucking ear. So it's not, and also you factor in how far away the shot was,
Mm-hmm.
and the role that like the wind plays. And I don't care what anybody says, that was, I'm not a gun guy, but like I think it's pretty common sense to see that like I don't think that gun was high caliber.
Yeah.
And so like that thing it's probably just by the grace of God that it didn't veer the other way and just nick his head, right?
Yeah.
So I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the shot was something that was like an extraordinarily difficult shot to make, but I do think that, I mean, if you're not a well-trained shooter and then you have a light caliber round, it's going to get kind of
It's gonna
tossed
veer.
around in the wind, it's going to veer, it's going to drop, etc. I don't think that it's like, oh, some marksman just decided to just clip his ear and it's a good photo op. I don't think that's a valid line of thought.
That's like video game brain. Like
Yeah, that's
just
crazy.
not. That's not like even if it was, even if that could be predicted to that degree, fucking inches, right?
Hmm.
That wouldn't be like a reasonable risk that any fucking
No.
campaign would make. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, that's crazy. And especially when you're already up in the polls, it's significant a bit. It's like he's coming off the week of one of his
He's
strongest
running
weeks in the
against a
polls.
retard.
Yeah, he's running against a man that's literally had Parkinson's doctors in the White House. He's running against an aging, demented man, and it's like he's gonna win. And that's almost more proof as to why it's like, if you're gonna say it's maybe some sort of inside job or whatever, it's like maybe it's like quote unquote the deep state. Then if anything, because it's like, oh my god, our guy is literally a brain dead retard, and everyone in the country just saw that, and we have almost no option other than to maybe try to kill this guy. Which
Not to
I
do the
don't.
well, actually, but I do think that the Parkinson's doctor thing was he did some political move about related to Parkinson's, so I think that was just someone like coming in to advise. But I love, and
Maybe.
the main reason I wanted to bring that up is because I'm pretty confident in that. The main reason I did want to bring it up is because it's kind of this awesome example of like the New York Times published that, being like,
Hmm.
this doctor showed up, Parkinson's doctor, and then letting the reader fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah.
And it was funny seeing like shit libs just like lose their minds over that, because it was like the shoe is now on the other foot. And it's like, it's just the New York Times just being absolute fucking lying slugs. But like it's going against them now. And I kind of, it's like the two bad guys are now fighting each other. And it's like, who do I root for?
Well, that's the thing that's been funny with the whole past couple of weeks since the debate is that, like, you're getting this kind of influx of people that have somehow been willfully ignoring the fact that
Right.
Biden's mentally retarded or whatever, and then or just like they've not been exposed to it because they've kept a cap on his media appearances and everything, and they've kept it really limited with set speeches, and so
Yep.
people are like, now waking up and acting like, oh my God, we're like, he's retarded. Like, how could we? He's brain dead. Like,
Oh
can't you
my
see that?
god.
It's like this
Yeah.
shocking thing to people. And I think, and then in that moment, like the media is now having to like, they're having to save face in one way or another because they've been propping up this lie for fucking the past 3 years so that he's mentally fit. He's good
Well,
enough to fucking.
that's also why so many of the shit libs are just like, this isn't real, I refuse, is because like it's maxing out people's capacity for cognitive dissonance. Like
Yeah.
you can't like that. A lot of things tumble down in rapid succession the second you
Mm,
just acknowledge like, oh, this guy isn't fit, right?
yeah.
And so people bought the ticket to get lied to for the last 5 years, and now 5 years of progress is just getting snapped in another direction at a 90-degree angle in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't necessarily blame them for being like, I am actually not going to adjust to this new information.
Yeah, it's just a coping mechanism you have to keep going in life, I guess, at
Yeah,
some level when you're
yeah,
in that deep with it.
the lib coping mechanism.
It has been off the charts recently. Like we were talking just about all the crazy things that they're saying now. But
Well,
like the
no, and again, that's where especially after this, it's like, dude, it's over. It's
yeah,
over. What the fuck do you even do? Like, he's at the convention right now. It's happening. He
Trump.
just announced his running mate. I don't know if
Oh,
you
really?
if you
No,
saw
I
it.
didn't see
Yeah.
that. No, who is it?
Well, this is going to be kind of fun. What would have been your guess?
God, I honestly have no good. I think it's abroad. It's what I was thinking.
Okay.
And I was thinking it would. I have no idea really. I was thinking maybe Tulsi, but I don't think it would be her.
Yeah.
I got no real thing.
What's funny about this is just
Oh my
before I
God, I just Googled it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away the surprise, but holy
well, yeah,
fuck.
okay, right. So yeah, so it's JD Vance, right?
Yeah,
So
jeez, what the fuck?
so no, it's funny because JD Vance is like a lot more of an obvious choice than I thought
Yeah,
it was going to be.
of course.
Um, I thought it was originally going to be a military guy,
Hmm.
because it kind of gets to the. I think it has a nice like kind of anti. I mean, this is my phrasing, but like anti neo-colonial streak of like the army is trying to be reformed, but like the army's actually based, and military really loves Trump, and so they go with somebody who goes on that, and it's his dark MAGA moment, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but I feel like
Point
he
is,
probably wants to try to distance himself from military stuff a little bit, 'cause also with all of like, I think that Biden is like the war hawk, obviously, in this
that's an
scenario.
interesting. That is an interesting point. Point is, it's JD Vance. JD Vance was a really obvious choice, and I just didn't think he was going to go that obvious. I like him. I mean, I know that plenty of people are like feeling mixed about it. I don't really have any strong reason to dislike him. I know that like in 2016 he was anti-Trump, and now
Mm.
he's kind of gone in the last 4 years or so, gone towards like being kind of dissident right associated. I mean, he was in the article that featured us.
Yeah, I remember
And
that absolutely.
he's like fucking mold bug speed dial kind of guy.
Hmm.
Again, people don't like that he's like Yale alum, and he's from the machine. But again, I mean, if people are talking about having like an American Caesar, it's like Caesar was an elite, right? So I don't know. I mean, he picked a dissident right guy. I actually have very little to say about it. I
I
think
kind of
it's
like that. I mean, I like it better than
I
if he
like
picked
it.
some fucking military slug, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like more
But
of a real guy. He may be sketchy. He's like sketchy to me in the same way that RFK is sketchy, where I'm like, you seem like you're supposed to be the guy. Like you're like you're putting forth these ideas that resonate with a dissident crowd, but you're also like in the establishment in a meaningful way. Like not really like in the establishment, like in a deep state or whatever, but you're playing the game, and so there's a level of like suspicion there that I think is that makes sense. But I mean, I think that like on the surface level, I feel like I'm interested in him more than I'd be interested in most other running mates. I thought for some reason it was going to be a woman though, because I thought Trump mentioned
right.
something about a female. But
I'm
whatever.
glad it isn't, because that just would have been vapid.
It would have
I
just
mean,
been
like if
some
there's
bullshit. Yeah.
if there's a woman who's worthy of it, then like, yeah, totally, that's great, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's just that's vapid.
Well, I know that.
Cultural signaling.
Yeah, I feel like this is not that, which is meaning that's like that's a nice thing. It's like trying to men go their own way, if you will. But
Dude, he's got the MGTOW vote.
yeah, he people in Ohio fucking love JD Vance. I spend a good bit of time in Ohio because we tour like in that area pretty often, and I'll be driving through just bumfuck Ohio, and you're seeing JD Vance signs. I mean, everywhere. And it's basically mostly like farm kind of land, farm people, rural homes. Then you'll see a lot of JD Vance signs. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything, but I think it means that he does have support there on the ground for the people in his district. He's not just like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people that are like raised to the national level.
Yeah, I was under the impression he did fairly well in his election. So
yeah, and I think sometimes the people who get raised to the national level like that aren't actually well supported in their locality.
Right. Well, and I guess that's kind of the whole thing with the kind of, it's weird to say populist right anymore because now that's kind of gotten a little bit diluted, but we'll just say that for the sake of brevity. Yeah, like, I mean, if you're running as a fuck you against the unelected bureaucracy, you would hope that, you know, your constituents like you, or else you're kind of full of shit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, man, that's interesting. I'll have to read some more.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about JD Vance either. Like, I know that like he was working with some venture capital firms and stuff like that. Like
he's
out of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I think he's one of these teal guys.
Yeah, which I don't like, for sure. That's like another red flag kind of thing. But I mean, who fucking whatever. He's a vice presidential candidate. I'm not gonna like him probably. So, yeah,
it's degrees of dislike, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I maybe my values are probably more aligned with this guy than they are with fucking Kamala Harris or whatever other kind of shit.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it goes without saying. I mean, Kamala's gotta. I don't even know if they should run with her as the VP. You know what I mean? But
what are they gonna do?
Well, that's the whole thing, right, dude? And again, it's just like it sucks so fucking bad for them that like this happens. It really does suck.
Yeah,
they like came out, did their whole, you know, no political violence, liberal democracy, yada yada. My whole thing with this, my take, I've simmered down since yesterday, but I'm fired up about it, and you know the reason I'm fired up about it is I know a lot of libs and leftists in my life. I know a lot of conservatives and right wingers in my life. People on the left are convinced that right wingers think that leftists are dumb, and leftists think that right wingers want to fucking murder them.
Mm-hmm. Evil. They got some sort of morality issue.
Yeah, and left wingers say the most vile shit about right wingers, and right wingers don't say any of that shit. Mm-hmm. And this is anecdotal. These are the people I know, right? But like libs say genuinely, constantly dehumanizing things, and none of the conservatives hate in her heart. No, exactly. and you know, this is a little bit of a normie take, you know, because it's like, yeah, on paper, whatever, political violence is necessary to turn the gears of history and yada, yada, yada. But if nothing else, it's just one of these things in my mind of like, okay, Trump is either Hitler, okay, and he's going to bring in a new Third Reich, or political violence against him isn't permitted. You don't get to have your fucking cake and eat it too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right? like this is the logical fucking conclusion of all the shit that you guys spew.
Mm-hmm.
And again also to this new thing of being like, well, the kid was a Republican and all that. That actually literally just doesn't even fucking that actually in a real way doesn't fucking matter,
No.
because these are the consequences of what you get when just like your hegemonic cultural narratives are pushing this shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are pushing this shit. And
And
you see, oh, go ahead.
it may be even stronger, like of an indicator of that if he is truly a Republican, he's not doing it for any type of like strategic reasons. Like if he is just a Republican in that camp and he decided to do this, it shows that this type of media coverage and stuff is getting through. Even it's not just like contained in the left. It's not just contained to libs. It's like it
Well,
is
there's
a
a lot of
hegemonic thing.
there's a lot of never Trump
Oh,
Republicans.
of course.
Again, here's the thing. Ultimately, that argument doesn't work in what it's trying to do, which is, absolve left media of like responsibility in this.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, to engage with the retarded argument that it is, there are tons of never Trump Republicans. There are
Yeah.
tons of never Trump Republicans, and they're just in the left coalition at this point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Fully.
So it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. You people are fucking responsible for this shit, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the gaslighting
Mm-hmm.
of just like Trump and MAGA Republicans are so fucking dangerous and violent and yada yada. And it's like, no, they strike. They cry out while they strike you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's bullshit. We've had 8 fucking years of basically nothing fucking happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the limited examples of stuff actually happening, which first of all don't match up with the amount of fucking violence from libs and leftists with like, Steve Scalise and Rand Paul and fucking Trump now and the fucking Black Lives Matter riots that killed a lot of fucking people. We're never even going to know how many fucking people died as a consequence of that centrally fucking planned and orchestrated series of riots,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even the examples of right-wing violence that can be brought up are like, so it's such sophistry, and the second you actually examine a lot of the stuff, it kind of falls apart. I'm so tired of these fucking lies. You know what I mean? And again, yeah, I'm doing the BoomerCon thing. I'm just being like, this is a fucking double standard. This is fucking bullshit. The media fucking lies. And it's like, yeah, okay, like catch up. Of course, this is all fucking true. What are you going to fucking do about it? But still, like after what happened the other day and just the fucking headlines, dude, he fell down on stage and got rushed off, all this shit. It's unfucking believable. It's unfucking believable. And I'm really fucking sick of it. And like, I'm not really MAGA, I'm like,
Dude, I think I am after this.
Well,
not really MAGA, but I think I'm gonna vote for Trump now. I wasn't really. I definitely wasn't gonna vote for Trump. Like I was either gonna not vote or I was gonna vote RFK. But I think I'm gonna vote for Trump now. Like after this whole thing, like because it's made me just kind of rethink like just him as an individual a little bit, and like just also it's like I'd rather vote for the guy that like that happens to and has that energy after it than just like whatever, and it doesn't really matter.
That picture is straight up like great man of history pill.
Yeah. And I think, but that being kind of put aside, this is absolutely the logical conclusion to the media coverage, to the entire image that they've built up of Trump and of his dangerous MAGA coalition and like, all this stuff he's leading, he's bringing fascism to America. Exactly what you said. They've painted him out to be Hitler. And the thing with Hitler is that, like, if you could go back in time, you're supposed to kill Hitler. Everyone knows it. People use it as, like, a joke colloquially. If I had a gun and I was in a room with you and Hitler, I'd kill you instead. That's the thing. But they know the reason they say that is because you're supposed to kill Hitler. And this is what you've created is a real living avatar of Hitler, of the evils that you put into Hitler. You've now created as a real living person who's physically, tangibly here in front of us, a part of our American political system. And you could say, yes, he emboldens some levels of like, xenophobia or like immigrant speech, and
It's
he's
all
maybe
fucking
it's like
bullshit.
maybe he's a demagogue and like this kind of stuff. I think he's a demagogue. I think he does it effectively though, and I think it's not always bad to be a
Well,
demagogue.
also, they're like they get 8 fucking years out of talking about the like we need to shut the border down and have this travel ban on Muslims, yada yada yada. They get 8 fucking years out of that. Whereas like I look at Twitter and it's like they have all these compilations right now, just all of these fucking people, no consequences, um, elected officials and celebrities alike. I mean, I'm going to give an example of a celebrity, so nobody give me a hard time for not mentioning an elected official. But like, apparently, Jack Black at a show last night, just outwardly on stage, just being like, "Yeah, like next time, don't miss the shot."
Dude,
Right?
there was some
There's no
CIA
concept. There's
fucking
no
lady
there's no
posting memes.
consequence for shit like that.
No, it's insane. I mean, I told you I saw fucking some retards I had met that I've like become friends with on Facebook through the music industry just across the country. I've been seeing shit pouring in from their takes, and like I've seen real actual people calling for assassinations of Donald Trump like ever since that presidential immunity Senate hearing thing that's really a nothing burger but been made out to be this huge fucking
Right.
shift towards fascism because of the conservative Supreme Court and blah blah blah. Now Trump can do whatever they want. I literally saw those people and then other larger mainstream Democrat people parroting this kind of idea that if there's presidential immunity, then Biden should say he should order an assassination on Donald Trump. And then I saw just like various different times people posting like assassinate Donald Trump, literally saying it out loud before this happened. And they're like, I always thought that like if you're out here calling for the assassination of a political figure like openly on a like a face, you're like a face person
You
on
get a knock
social
at your
media.
door.
Yeah, that's not like that's a problem. I always thought, but apparently it's like that's just kind of real common. And I'm not even gonna say I have a problem with that. Like, I think maybe you should be able to say that, whatever. But either way, I'm saying this is indicative. People have that. It's
No,
hegemonic. People think he's evil and that they should kill him, and it'd be the right thing to save America.
no, exactly. And again, they cry out while they strike you. They think they're the fucking underdogs. And like, yeah, I think you should be able to fucking say that shit too. To be
Hmm.
totally honest, um, the fact is that half the country can say it,
Right. Right.
and it's fucking bullshit. And I'm just honestly more than anything, I'm tired of the discomfort of the cognitive dissonance that is being forced on me.
Hmm.
It's fucking bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of you guys saying fucking lies, dude. I'm tired of
Hmm.
you saying fucking lies, dude. Uh, uh, like, there is a lot of violence. There is a lot of danger with partisan violence, and it's
It's not just
not.
one way.
Well, to be honest, it
Well,
kind
it
of
is.
is.
Well, it's no, it's a
But
it's
but
allowed
it's
to
just
happen in one way now. But I'm saying like
exactly.
it's not just the one way insofar as they paint it out to be. Oh, they're right. It's like this murderous evil. Like people that are Trump supporters are going to go kill immigrants and they're going to kill Jews in the street or whatever. That's what they want you to believe. Like
Yeah.
that's 100% the line. They want you to
Well,
think.
and again, it's this whole fucking dumb bullshit bread tube shit of the like, oh my gosh, stochastic terrorism. Alex Jones doubted the Sandy Hook parents, and so he's guilty of stochastic terrorism because he emboldened people to harass them and put on threats against their life.
And
And
that's
it's
not
like,
even
oh,
terrorism,
okay,
first of all. Like
no, it's a bullshit. It's a
harassing some
bullshit
parents
fucking.
at their houses. That's not terrorism.
But again, the proof is in the fucking pudding. Okay,
Yeah.
you guys repeat this over and fucking over and over, and just publishing recently, fucking continuing to just publish fucking magazine covers with Trump as Hitler and shit like that, and it's like,
Hmm.
so you're not going to apply your own fucking logic to yourself, and to be totally honest, in a way, I respect the people, the Jack Blacks of the world that are just like, yeah, I want you to kill him.
Hmm.
Do it better next time, because at least like you're being fucking consistent.
Yeah,
You're
shooting
actually
straight.
being actually fucking honest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not needing to fucking hold that cognitive dissonance that the fucking normies, that the mainstream normies are putting forward. You
Hmm.
know, of just of of oh well, we have to, this isn't how we do things in this country. You're walking people right up to the fucking edge and
Yeah.
implying that they should fucking kill this guy. and then the second that fucking happens, oh well, we didn't actually mean it, right? And if
Mm,
somebody said something a third of the with a third of the drama of the shit that you say, they'd be fucking locked up, dude. Fuck
yeah.
you.
I
and,
mean,
and
you
I'm and I'm
remember.
just and I'm really fucking sick of it. And I'm like, and I just don't want to hear libs that I know in real life talk this way anymore. And if I do hear it, I'm gonna fucking up front just be like, you need to understand, like, you guys say really vile shit. The other side doesn't talk about you like this at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like you guys are really fucking hateful. Say really, really fucking disgusting shit. And I'm talking just on an interpersonal level at this point. This isn't like some grand, insightful political thing to say, right? This isn't. He shouldn't run on this, right? It's beta to run on this. It's whiny. But
Yeah.
like, just as far as like loved ones I have go, it's like, guys, like, I'm pretty much done just like laughing off and looking past you guys saying shit like this. Like, this is fucking creepy. You guys are fucking creepy. And the other side that you dehumanize literally doesn't act this way. And I'm tired of giving you guys a fucking pass.
Hmm. Yeah, I was saying yesterday, but the only, like, they act like there's, this is both sides or whatever. There's political violence on the right. It's a major threat. But like when you look at the actual things that's happened, you have January 6th. January 6th, it's like, that's just some guys that were like having a good time. It's like there's also some federal agents kind of toying and monkeying around in there. There's a lot of different kind of things that led to that. And yes, someone died in it, but like that's not like, I wouldn't say that's like this huge indicator of like political violence, really, like
Well, also, the
in the
person
way
that
that it
fucking
happened.
died was a MAGA supporter.
Right,
And
right.
then,
It
yeah, there
wasn't
was like,
like they were
I don't know,
attacking.
yeah.
It's not like they went out and killed someone. Yeah, I would say maybe Charlottesville it will be something that would maybe be kind of a closer analogy. But like as far as in the media coverage of like of the other side, you don't get this kind of vile vitriol of like singling out someone and saying that they're Hitler or whatever. Like the closest you have, and I think I said this, was basically the Pizzagate thing, where it's like real actual emails with real questionable shit, and then people being like Hillary's like fucking a satanic like child sex cabal leader, and like you're hearing that, and it's, of course, that's a huge thing to levy against somebody. And I think it's probably true. You just, to be honest about it all.
Also, really fast. That's fucking schizo. And
Yeah,
like, and
yeah,
like, and
yeah,
like, like,
yeah.
like, is
And
there
it's
some
not
truth to it?
mainstream media. Yeah, yeah.
No, no, and like, is there some truth to it? Yeah, sure. But like, that's fucking schizo.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like, it is totally rational to repeat to everyone that someone is a fucking fascist. And so then, yeah, Jack Black is going up being like, yes, literally fucking kill him. Literally fucking kill him. Please, literally fuck. Like, these are very fucking different things. You know what I mean? It would be totally
Yeah.
different if Jack Black was like, he's a reptilian, and so we need to use our crystal laser guns to
Yeah,
fucking,
yeah, yeah.
like, what the fuck are you talking about? You need to measure his Thetan count. Like, no, no, it's like you said, it's an ethical cliche that everybody knows. Oh, we're supposed to go kill baby Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
it's just I'm so tired of the I'm tired of the cognitive dissonance. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is like rational use of irrationality, which is like, that is like kind of a thing that Michael Parenti talks about as like a indicator of fascism. Which is like, this is me now doing the libs are the real fascist thing, but like it is, if you look at it that way, it's like they are rationally using like these irrational claims and stuff in order to generate political action and generate
Sure.
support and stuff like that. It is meaningful in that sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, they build him up to be this guy, and then as soon as something happens against him, it's like, no, there's no way, that's not our fault. That didn't even really happen. We're not even sure it happened. There was just noises. Like his security
Right.
team just decided they need to cut it. I
He fell
think,
down on stage because he's a fucking dumb bitch.
yeah, he lost his balance like Joe Biden on the bike. He's just like Joe Biden. They're just both a couple of old geezers. That's all. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a really like a shot through the armor of legacy media. I think it's just I think it's been happening the past couple of weeks. I mean, it's been happening for years. People have lost faith in the media, the sad ratings of CNN, failing CNN, etc., all this kind of stuff.
Sad.
Yeah, sad. But I think that the past couple of weeks where you have Joe Biden being outed as being literally just like a skin suit puppet, And then
Yeah.
you have the media now having to come to terms with that, and it's obvious that they've been lying about it for years and years, and they're having to now be like, oh well, fucking he's crazy actually, and he's old, and like what are we gonna do? And then now this, you're seeing people are drawing attention to these headlines about loud noise, clatter, and this. People know now that it was an assassination attempt. People know now he was shot. People are still seeing the headlines that they don't edit, that are on there, that just say loud noise, whatever, from CNN,
Yes.
MSNBC, fucking The Guardian, all this kind of thing. These legacy media outlets, they are. It's not necessarily like a lie, a direct lie. It's a lie of omission. They're trying to. How can we frame this in a way that doesn't really? It's the same game they always play, the media. But I think in this scenario, it's such an obvious. The thing that you write, Trump shot at fucking Pennsylvania rally. That's the headline. Assassination attempt on 45th president of the United States. That's the headline. Not
Right.
this, like, and especially if you're going for clicks, that's what everyone talks about. Clickbait, revenue streams, whatever. If you're going for fucking clicks, you put something that's going to draw attention, like an assassination attempt. You don't just put this obscure bullshit about, oh, some loud noises happened and the president stepped down. It's obvious that they're using this as a way to manufacture some level of propaganda towards what's happening. And I think that it's obvious at a level that's very difficult to ignore, even with that cognitive dissonance. And I don't really know. I feel like it's falling apart. And I think that over the past few years, it's been like there's been a little bit of a pendulum swing. I think that things have been shifting. There's a political realignment that's happening, but also a philosophical realignment where, like, I think that people are being fed up with the cognitive dissonance, like you're saying. It's something I can no longer hold in my skull because it's going to rip it apart. What are
Yes.
we doing? You're making me tie my brain into knots that I cannot untie. They don't make any fucking sense. Why are you asking me to do all this? And it's not in an effective way. Like, I think that this is going to be a weird little aside, but like, it's healthy, I think, to have dialectical thinking where you can have paradoxes and you can hold multiple things that don't really exactly line up, maybe can contradict. That's an important thing
Yes.
to be able to do that, right? It's important to have
Yes.
that conceptual fluidity, and like I think that religion teaches that a lot, us that a lot, and it's a meaningful thing we can get from it. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like mental barbell reps.
yeah, absolutely. But I think at a certain point when it's just complete fabrication of shit like that with no underlying truth, nothing that's really like speaking to anything at a deeper level, it's like you're making people so tired in their brain and they can no longer do these reps of just like, oh, well, actually, a fucking man can have a baby. And it's like, all this crazy bullshit that's like, what are you talking about? My brain doesn't even get it anymore. And I think you're seeing it like, there's this like almost like return to religion is happening a little bit. You're seeing kind of like a disavowal of the cities a little bit. People are kind of like, after COVID and stuff, people are moving back to rural places. I think Zoomers and younger people,
There is a reaction.
there's a reaction happening majorly, and I think that like the reaction is to a lot of the just like this fake virtual kind of thing that's been built up, this hyper reality. And I think that it's a reaction of like, let's just get back to some fucking basics. Like I just want to like, work a trade job or something. I don't want to have to like go and do what all this extra bullshit is and learn about race theory or whatever. Like, let's just like do simple shit. I think at some level something like that's kind of happening. It's like grill pilled and like shit like that. Like, I think at some level people are like, let's just kind of, what are we doing? Let's rein it down and let's just be kind of honest with each other and be real, like, across the board. And I think that it's
There's no way that that's going to happen.
no, of course not. But I think there's just slow. I think that that's like the reaction that's occurring. I think that's one thing that's fueling the reaction that's occurring, and I think that's a trend that's underneath it all. And I think that like I think we are. I don't know. I think that a lot of this bullshit is going to fall away in some way, or if it doesn't fall away, it's going to be bolstered up in extremely, extremely authoritarian ways.
What's going to be bolstered
This
up?
this kind of like just the entire lie of like liberal progressivism, like
Yes.
this hegemony that we're generally living under right now.
The state religion.
Yeah, yeah. I think that
Yeah.
it is. I think that it is falling apart because I think that people can't hold it all together anymore because it's making their brains feel insane. And so I think that at some level, like people are either checking out from it or they're like, "This is bullshit. We need something that just makes fucking sense." And I think that like there's going to have to be a reaction to that on behalf of the liberal progressives, on behalf of the State Department, on behalf of the global elite. And it's either going to be like having to shift some kind of things, or it's going to need to be like they have to just step in stronger to bolster it all up.
Yeah. Like step in to bolster this ideology.
Yeah, or like just step in and like, I don't know, it's like, I'm not saying that I think this is what it is, but like, I don't know, step in and shoot Donald Trump, knock that out of the picture for now. It's like you do stuff like you do, any kind of different thing. And I'm not
Yeah.
even saying that's really what I honestly believe, but it's definitely a possibility. I think that could be, um, you know, part of it. I think functionally it's what happened. I mean, they built this machine, they built all this ideology up around it. They put it into the
Sure.
minds of people who are young and isolated over COVID years and stuff, and in
Well,
chat
right. So,
rooms.
yeah. So you just kind of touched on something. I'm sure you're aware of it. That is an interesting component of this, which is this kid was 20. Well, was because he's fucking dead now. This kid was 20 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, this is going to sound, I don't know why I just feel overcome with the desire to say this, because I see people memeing with the picture of his dead face.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm praying for his soul.
The poor kid's lost and twisted.
He's lost and twisted. He's dead. He has dignity as a person. I'm not gonna joke and make memes about the picture of this kid with his fucking head blown off. Like it's fucked up. I don't like that, right?
Yeah.
This kid was 20 years old. He was what? He was 10. He was 11 or 12 when Trump was first running.
Yeah.
His whole, I mean, most of his life
Mm-hmm.
was, I guess, like, practically most of his life where he was, his entire life where he's been aware of things and the world and culture has been nothing but the Trump information diet of, Hitler, yada, 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 right? And this is an interesting angle that I know like Ben Braddock was taking. He was isolated during COVID,
Yeah.
right? He got locked up during COVID, just like all the other fucking children in our country. I mean, I guess besides homeschool ones, do with that what you will. And it's an interesting angle to take. Now, again, this is where you get into just like history as a narrative, and there's different ways of looking at it. I'm not going to say that this kid was, that the explanation for this assassination attempt was COVID school closures. I'm not necessarily going to say that, but it's an interesting added texture to this story.
Well, I think the thing is that everyone in modern life right now, their head inside of everyone's brain is like a hall of mirrors right now. And I think that COVID made it even more so. It made it so much more so. And I think that the type of bullshit that the media manufactures also does that. And it creates like lots of stress within that, like that, the tension of holding all the bullshit in the brain. I think that it just causes you to have a distorted view of reality, and then it causes you to have a distorted view of yourself, and then all of these mental problems can spiral from it. And I think that COVID definitely exasperated that. And I think that to say that this kid was a victim of, or maybe not a victim, a consequence, a victim, whatever you want to say, of a combination of like media bullshit and then just general mental instability due to modern life, plus like isolation from COVID and not being a social, a very social person, being kind of an outcast, a classic lone shooter thing, right? Where he doesn't have a lot of friends and a lot of people that are like telling him how to be a real existing person, how to not go fucking shoot the president. They don't have a lot of people checking them. This kid's fucked. Modern life has left him like a ship in a dark sea, moored to nothing, just floating around at the whim of whatever fucking news article comes along his way. I think COVID made that worse. I think that during the COVID times, that's all you had was the media bullshit, social media bullshit, whatever. I think people made it their entire life. And I think that it would be remiss to say that that didn't affect him in any kind of way. But yes, to say that that's the sole reason for it, I would say, I wouldn't really go that far, but I think it definitely plays a part. I think we have a generation of people who are poorly socialized, and I think that that leads to erratic behavior that can oftentimes be violent, antisocial behavior.
Yeah, 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 totally. The other thing here is, and again, it's just worth thinking about. Is because like it's an interesting excuse to think about that stuff. At the same time, kind of similar to like the gun safety stuff that people are bringing up now. It's like also kind of hard to take any real firm takeaways from this, because this is a kid who there is no digital footprint of this kid anywhere. There's no digital footprint of this kid anywhere. And the only thing that people have found besides like a graduation video and like 2 pictures is an appearance he made
BlackRock commercial
in a BlackRock commercial. and again, I'm like, I'm so, my
I
head
love
is,
it. It's so crazy, man. It's so insane.
it is fucking crazy. And again, like, my mind is also a hall of mirrors at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Shit, right. And so I don't know, I don't tend to find this stuff to be super compelling, but it's all just, it all comes together for some big collage of fuckery. And yeah, I don't know, man. This kid kind of seems like MK Ultra a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. And in any case, Democrat or Republican or what have you, there's really no defense against the claim that Western media in just its lockstep, just the cathedral. I know that that's kind of fallen out for these kind of conversations. That phrase has fallen out a little bit lately, but
it's probably going to come back front and center now.
Yeah, well,
JD Vance on
exactly is what I was just going to say. The cathedral has a part to play in this, very fucking obviously. Yeah, I mean that is my main focus with this, is just hammer them on this, dude. Yes. Hammer them on this. Don't let them get off on it. Like don't let them get off the hook on this. I'm sure that they're getting off on this right now.
They're definitely getting off on this. You fucking sick freaks.
These people are sick. I'm telling you, they're sick.
But yeah, man, it's I'm just kind of tired of it, and
yeah,
I'm now officially BoomerCon status, like gonna enthusiastically vote for the guy.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I still I don't know. I still think that he's got a lot of problems I don't agree with. I don't like the Operation Warp Speed or whatever. We don't need to talk about everything.
Don't get me started on that shit, dude.
Yeah,
dude, fucking COVID falls at the feet of Trump, dude.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
But there's definitely some kind of fuckery going on here, and even if it is as simple as the media thing, then it's like that is an indication right there. That's an indictment on the whole system. It's an indictment on the left. It's an indictment on the media, legacy media companies, and it proves that there is some sort of force working against him, conspiring against him, whether or not it's just ideological. You could say somehow it's just ideological hive mind behavior, right? Maybe it's not a centrally kind of thing. It's just these people honestly have now internalized and believe this. I think that's probably 65-75% of it. But I think there's also, a lot of these outlets are, getting funding from the same places. They have allegiances to certain industries and certain leaders of industry, etc. And so I think that there has been a concerted effort to either make him seem like he's a Russian fucking agent with Russiagate. There's been a concerted effort to get him impeached when he was in office from various different things. They've tried to ring him up on fucking charges and get him put into jail so he can't run. They tried to get him put off the ballot so that he can't run either. And none of this stuff has worked. He's kind of overcome all of them. And what is the only other thing to do is you try to kill the guy. Like, what else can you do to stop the guy from running and winning the election that he's clearly going to win? Everyone knows he's going to win. Everyone's just been trying not to even think about it or even accept that reality, because it's just it's a clear fact he's going to win. And there's no one knows what to do otherwise. And so it's like, you have a guy like him, and there's clear fuckery going on toward in his direction of him, and then there's this assassination attempt, and you get the media coverage that's still the same, and it's like, yes, 100% the media had something to do with this. The media had something to do with this in the exact same way that the election was fortified by the media, right? It's like, these are the things where it gets abstracted because you go, okay, well, the election was rigged. Okay, well, show me where they did the fake votes. Show me this, show me that. I don't need to show you the fake votes because I can have the entire media apparatus of 6 years and social media walking in lockstep to support a certain ideology, keep a certain man off their platforms, keep people that represent his views off their platforms. That is fortifying, rigging, whatever the election, just in the same way as this type of media coverage over the past 6 years has led to an act of violence. In the exact same way, they functionally have tried to assassinate Donald Trump in the same way that they rigged the election. But you can say they fortified the election, and then you can say that they, I don't know, fabricated an ideology that led to an assassination. If you want to try to take the blame off their hands or whatever, or repackage it. But either way, functionally what happened is they put a series of events into motion that now led to an assassination attempt. That's pretty bad. Like, that's a big thing. And yeah, I mean,
and the amount of denial and ignorance that is required to refute that is just it's anybody engaging in that is just not worthy of your fucking respect, and they're not being honest. They're fucking lying. And I'm just like really sick of it. And again, I don't know. I wonder like what this sounds like to somebody listening, because it is like all the stuff we're saying is really obvious, right? We're not saying anything remotely new. The only new thing here is that someone actually took a shot at him and fucking blew a hole in his fucking ear, right? That's the only new thing. I guess the new thing is just kind of like the impassioned. I'm just emotional about it, right? Yeah. I'm just, and I don't know. I mean, I guess that kind of just says everything, right? Which is just like, we all know what the fucking score is. We know what's been happening the last 8 fucking years, and like, I'm just tired of it, dude. I'm fucking tired of it, and I'm tired of. Again, I've been talking about this a lot lately. Like, I'm in favor of people being fucking normal. Yeah. And that's another aspect of it is just like, stop acting like you guys aren't acting like insane fucking clowns and causing this to happen. You know what I mean? Like, this has been nonstop. Well, anyways, I'm just saying the same things over and over again, basically.
Well, I mean, I think that the really interesting things here is like, what do you do if you are the left and if you are Biden and camp now? Because like, this handed the election to Trump in a way that it wasn't before. I mean, he was already leading 10, 15 points in most states, I feel like, and in battleground states, even in 8 points, 10 points, 12 points. He was already going to take it by storm in a meaningful way. Now, after this, I haven't seen any polls since the attempt. I don't know what's going on, but I have people in my personal life that aren't political or anything that are like, yo, Trump's a G for that. Like, I got a lot of people that are, I mean, I got a bunch of friends. We're all kind of Zoomers, like, young millennials, whatever. So, I mean, like, we're not really invested. We're not really invested in like the political process. I'm probably the most political of like anyone in my circle because it's mostly like artists that are like, everything's fucked and not getting too into it. But I got people that are like, dude, Trump's like hard for that. Like, that's like he's got street cred now. There's people are like interested in that. And when you have that juxtaposed with Joe Biden in his last appearance, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a fucking cakewalk for Trump. So it's like, what will happen now? What will happen now? Because you said it. He's at the convention. He's about to be actually the nominee, and then he will be kind of effectively the president-elect because of, like, if you look at the polling and everything. So it's like, what now? If you're someone who really thinks he really needs to be stopped, will there be another assassination attempt on his life? Will there be, like, how do you handle that? If you're like Joe Biden and camp, I guess if you're the left, like, what do you do now? Do you bow out? Do you say, we'll just let Trump take this one? Do you like turn it up the heat?
This is an interesting one, right? Because I've from what I've heard, right? Okay. All right. all the money that the Biden campaign has raised up until this point does not go to without some extra legal fuckery, does not go to the next.
It's just him.
It's just him. It's just their campaign, right? Given like campaign finance laws, right?
They'd have to give it all back.
Right. I don't even know what would happen with it. And I'm not even necessarily saying that they couldn't fuck around with it, but it would be, at the very least, a major impediment, right? The money isn't coming in anymore. Like, big donors are not really showing up anymore for Biden because he's fucking, he's not viable.
He's fucking retarded. It's incredible. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. So why would you give him money?
And so I think what basically what I was hearing people say is that the big donors are basically abandoning or considering the general election a wash and are just preparing for the midterms and just like smaller down ticket elections.
It feels like that's what they have to do now, and I don't know if that was really what the talk was like after the debate. Like, I think that the last things I was saying before the assassination articles and everything was that they were putting together a team of super Democrats, super friends, and they were going to take them up to go see Joe Biden and to go see Jill Biden, and they were going to try to talk with them, and they were about getting out, about stepping down. And I imagine that was going to include like Obama or fucking Pelosi or Chuck the Schmuck Schumer. Who knows who they were going to have go up there. But they were going to have people go talk with the Bidens to try to convince them to step down. Because from what I can kind of feel out, it's like they propped up Joe Biden because he was like the establishment pick. He was like the guy that they had to prop up in that 2020 election. And so they propped him up.
He was the vessel for Obama.
Yeah, and you had to do it. And so they put him into office, and they had to act like he's not, that he's actually mentally viable and all this stuff. And they get him into office, and then I think that like they're kind of realizing like, all right, I don't think we can do this again. Trump is going to beat us in the election, and what do we do? And I think that they probably want to switch him out. I think that like DNC leadership, Democrats in general, want to switch Biden out. They would like to see someone else in there. I think there is a level of uncertainty on what would happen as far as support goes if they did that. But I think that was kind of the thing. They wanted to switch him out. And I think they wanted to put Biden out there. You have the debate. You see how much of a mess he's going to be, because you have to know he's going to shit the bed at the debate. You have to know he's going to shit the bed. And so it seems like they put him out there. He shits the bed. And it's like, oh, okay, he'll want to step down. Like, he'll feel pressure. We can get him to step down, switch over, bring up a new candidate, some fresh energy, and hopefully we'll see what happens. But I don't think Biden.
But he's not playing ball.
Yeah, he's not playing ball. He's like, look, motherfuckers, you knew what I was when you put me in this chair. You knew I was like a corpse, basically, and you convinced me and my family to take this ride, and you like said that you'd like.
Well, basically. And here's the thing that I think you're totally right. So I love this, by the way. Like, this is real politics in my mind, right? Like, like there's no big central conspiracy going on here. Like, there's no one driving the fucking ship, and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's okay. Relative to the standards of the presidency, Biden is so far fucking gone and senile, right? But as far as just the standards of just like your grandpa,
yeah, he's like a guy still.
Yeah, he's not actually completely senile, right? Like I had an aunt who like had I almost said Asperger's, not Asperger's. You know what I'm talking about.
Dementia.
She was fucking senile.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, she had Alzheimer's, right? And this guy doesn't have that. This guy, like, in my opinion, very clearly doesn't have that, right? And the reason I'm saying this is just that, like, I don't think he's like behind a door. I mean, you can see him fucking talk. He's not behind a door drooling, getting spoon-fed applesauce, right?
He is like mumble. He is like stumbling over his sentences.
He's bad. he's bad, right? That's why I'm saying it's relative to the presidency. And everything.
Of course.
But I think if you give him the afternoon to actually think about stuff, like, he's still thinking and making decisions on his own.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And
his family definitely is too, Jill Biden.
Oh, well, don't get me started on that. Yeah, absolutely, right? Point I'm saying is he's present enough to be a fucking thorn in their side and authentically be like, fuck you guys, I'm saying no. You know what I mean? He's in control enough to have that. What I would do, and this is totally amoral, I wouldn't ever actually do this, but if I was some psychotic demon DNC shill, I would be coming up with a network of people all around him to basically just start gaslighting grandpa. And like, I would just start putting the pressure on him from every fucking angle around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would put him out in the public eye like they did with the debate. Put him out there, put him out in front of big donors, and then have him make a fool of himself so much that he's like, him and his family are like, we just gotta step down. Because I think what it is now is like, they're in the office, they realize that like, I think that if they step down, it's like, I think either way the Democratic Party is fucked. I think that Trump will win the election, but I think if they step down and then Trump wins the election, it's like, and if they go into it and Trump wins, either way, it's like they're gonna be the people that gave the election to Trump, and in the eyes of like the liberals and the left.
This is like Ruth Bader Ginsburg on steroids.
100%, dude. Yes, literally 100%. And they're bitching about the Supreme Court because it's now the most conservative fucking whatever in history and all this and all that. And the whole thing was because they just let her old ass stick around forever. And the same thing is happening with Joe Biden, basically. And I think that Joe Biden is like, he's like, no, I need to stick in here and try to win this thing. Because, like, if I can pull it off and win, then I'm not going to be the guy that handed this presidency to Trump. And my family's not going to be fucked for, like, I think they're under fire right now. And I think that, like, in extent, I think the family is kind of rallying together, and Joe Biden's like, look, I'm going to fucking keep doing this. I'm in here. You got me here. It's too late now. I'm going to stay. And I think he's like also on some ornery old man shit where it's like, old people, like you'll get kind of mad, or like you'll have a flash of kind of aggression in there.
Old people get confused and then they get mean.
Yeah. And I think he's probably at that stage where it's like, he's confused a lot of the time. And then they're like, hey, man, you need to get out of here. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bucko? Like, you know what I mean? That's malarkey. I've been here like this for 4 years. Let's just keep it going.
This is the 80-year-old getting cut off and 86th at the bar by the 20-year-old bartender.
Literally, yeah.
20,
and he's like,
I guess
no.
21-year-old, but yeah. It's, I don't know. Well, I think this is like, no, like he is tried and true a politician, and I think this is like a lot of hubris.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think this guy's got a big fucking ego. I think he's very legacy minded, and I think that the Biden family is a failed dynasty because the son that was ever actually going to become something died.
The other one fucked his wife and then started doing drugs and like fucking children in Thailand on camera or something. I don't even know what he's been doing, but it's not good. It's on the laptop. We won't know.
And again, like we're talking about this, they want him to step down and everything. Still, even with that in mind, and this honestly kind of makes me consider how much will there is actually behind that. The money dries up after that point. I mean, there must be in the last 2 weeks, and I wonder what it's like right now after what happened with Trump. There have been probably so many secret backroom fundraising deals going on with just all these different independent, not independent Democrats, but like independent factions within the Democratic Party to rapidly get another, basically like just add water, instant new presidential campaign. And you know what I'm saying? Where they're just like, we're about to just lose the piggy bank. We're about to lose this guy. If that does happen, like we need to go and just, suck Harvey Weinstein's dick kind of thing and just get as much money quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, like people don't fucking want Kamala. Kamala is the kiss of death, dude. Yeah. She's the most unlikable person in the world.
She's nothing. Like, black people don't like her. White people don't. No one likes Kamala Harris. I don't know how she even. But that's the thing with these people. Like, no one likes them, and they just fail upwards into these roles. Like, they just get pushed into.
Wait, what do you mean these.
Whoa! You're the one reading into that. That's not me. That's not me. I would say
You
Gretchen Whitmer. I would say
motherfucker.
other people that they don't share the same characteristics in that regard. Oh Lord. But yes, I mean, yeah, she's nothing. She has no ability to move people in any direction except towards at least indifference or hate.
I this is a very spiteful thing to say, and a lot of the time people say it just to be mean, but like Kamala Harris literally just is a diversity hire.
Yeah.
And that's that's what you get when you just have totally race-based
Yeah.
symbolic patronage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm glad that Trump didn't get some just abroad. I mean, that would have been a similar kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting because now I'm seeing articles because a lot of the thing right around the Trump assassination, to get back into that and to tie it in with the Biden a little bit, is
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people are talking about the Secret Service, right? They didn't do their job. They didn't clear off the roofs. Apparently, there was some advanced team from the Secret Service, like and stuff like that. That's like basically telling local police, like, we don't need to worry about the roofs. We don't need to go out there. Like, we don't need to clear this. And that's what's
Yes.
leading to the videos of people shouting, "Hey, there's a guy on the gun with a gun on the roof," and no one doing anything. That's
Right.
That's why this guy is able to get 6 shots off, and then he gets shot. It's not like they're trying to look for where he is. I feel like they knew where he is. He gets his shots off. They shoot him. Anyways, whatever. There's a lot of hullabaloo about how the Secret Service didn't do their job, and either willfully or just through just sheer incompetence they allowed this to happen. And so it's like, okay, well, where does that fall? Where does the responsibility of that fall? And they're looking
Right.
at the head of the Secret Service is now going to be called into Congress or some kind of thing to testify.
Yes.
And I'm reading about her. I saw an article right before we recorded this, and I pulled it up and saved it on my phone. And now, granted, it is a New York Post article, but it says Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle landed job after push by Jill Biden's office, sources say. And so
this is the DEI stuff.
yeah, so they're making it out to, well, I was saying more so that they're making it out to be that like she and her team, Anthony Bernthal, in order to be DI compliant and everything, they hired her, but also because Jill Biden likes her apparently, and Bernal liked her as well, and so they push her. But what I'm saying is more so, in this article, they're saying essentially, Jill Biden put this lady in the position she's in. That's kind of like the accusation that's being made, or like the
right. So they're compromised as an organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that fundamentally, I think we're starting to see some of this stuff. I think they're going to start going after the Biden family in a way in order to get them to step. Like, I think that it's still on, that they want them to still step down. I don't know how exactly this will affect it. I think that if I was like a real donor and stuff, I would probably just be thinking, yeah, this is a wash. Hopefully Trump doesn't change things for us too much these next 4 years, and we'll just try to get in there in midterms and next election, whatever. But yeah. I think that they're still trying to replace Biden. And I think that like articles like this, they're coming after their family a little bit in ways. And I know that's like the NY Post. It's not like it's like CNN that's doing that. But I think there's a myriad of like, there's this kind of breaking point where I feel like the Bidens were kind of untouchable for a long time. There's like, you can't say anything about them. You can't say anything about Joe Biden's mental state, whatever. And I think that now there's cracks in that starting to come in, and they're kind of, the piranhas are kind of turning towards the Biden family, and I think it's an attempt to try to put pressure on them to step down.
Honestly, with how much of a fucking frenzy it's been in the media lately, and just the the absolute, it feels like a circular firing line.
Yeah,
I totally buy what you're saying, 100%. I mean, like it's they are just driving a knife in his back there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's totally within reason, 100%.
All of this stuff is very interesting. Like, the election season has begun. Like, the election is back on. None of it's surprising in any way. Like, even the assassination attempt, it's not surprising. It's like, this is logical. This follows basically if we were on a road, on a trajectory, if we're like going somewhere, this is like a stop along the way. Like they created this ideology packet, they created this evil narrative about him, they put it
There's
into
a
the
very
hands.
linear progression here.
100%. It's not shocking. And the same thing with Joe Biden. None of it's surprising, but it did kind of wake you up from this lull of being lulled to sleep, and that you're just kind of like passing through, because it's like you said, it's like, oh, history is happening, like things are happening. It's like a real event occurred now. Wow,
Right.
we're here. So it feels like there is a little bit more energy now put into the election. For me personally, it's like a cynical, political commentator, kind of detached view. It is very interesting what's going on. It's kind of scary, or kind of just like unsettling, but it's generally always kind of been that way, and it's mostly just kind of like intriguing and interesting now. I feel like there's going to be a lot more. It's a lot more intrigue in this election season than I kind of thought there was going to be.
Totally, dude. I feel like we're back, dude. Like
Yeah.
I feel like this is real again. I mean, I've been saying this lately, and I'm gonna keep saying it because I like it and it makes me happy, to be honest. Which is just like this is 2016 levels of memeing, but again, it's different this time. And the way it's different, you hit the nail on the head, which is unlike 2016. None of this is surprising, right? Like this is all, for anybody that's been paying attention, this was inevitable. This is like Nick Land fucking like history in reverse type shit.
Hyperstition just happened.
Yeah, exactly. And like right. No, exactly. The media just is doing assassination by hyperstition, right? And anybody that's been paying attention isn't surprised by any of this, or at least they shouldn't be. And yeah, I mean, it's dude, the memes are back on the menu, boys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, shit, dude. I think as far as an emergency quick recap pod, I think we've covered a lot of what we could cover as far as the ground around the assassination with our assassination attempt. Our boy Teflon Don is still hanging in there strong, maybe stronger than ever, really, honestly. But yeah, I think we've kind of covered a lot of the ground. Do you have anything else on this at all you want to? I think there'll be more information coming in, maybe, and like we might have more to say later.
I mean, it's also one of these things of like, I don't need to sweat it too much because we're going to be talking about this for hours and hours,
of course,
going forward. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a basic service level thing, but obviously the image for this episode is going to be that upward angled fist in the air with the American flag, iconic. It also just makes me think about just this war over like the control of the culture, and just how that it's a historic picture, and will it actually be allowed to become a historic picture?
I think it will, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, well, yeah.
I think it's too late.
I think it's too late. I think it's more just like me bringing it up just as like that is a question. I'm of the opinion that I think that, yeah, like we've been talking about, like the internal contradictions of this whole thing are gonna, I think, crumble. And I think that they are right now. But yeah, I mean, just to appreciate again, like that picture is fucking incredible. What happened was incredible. Don't let people gaslight you into thinking that it wasn't. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see. I'm sure that by the time we're off recording this, the Trump's actual RNC speech will be up. And I'm really interested to hear that, because people were talking about how he basically just, the night he was assassinated, basically just ripped the whole speech up and rewrote something.
Oh, dude. Yeah, nice.
And so I'm going to be watching that shit.
I wish they would have let him talk at the rally. God, I wish they would have let him talk. That would have been so nice.
After he let him do a full Roosevelt.
God, yeah, let him do a tirade, dude. Who knows what could have come from that?
I don't know. To be honest, I think it. Well, that's true. I think that it was perfect.
It's probably better that they didn't. Yeah,
like, just the fight, and
you get the image.
Dude, oh my gosh, dude! There's like that's actually it's an example of like what you imagine when you're a kid, leaders being like from like what you see in stories. Actually, for the first fucking time, being actually reflected. That shit goes so fucking hard. That shit goes so fucking hard. And like, and just the absolute game of Twister that it's going to take for libs to be like, yeah, no, that wasn't just absolutely the most fucking hard gangster shit I've ever seen in my fucking life.
It is definitely a return to like the imagery, at least, is like, yeah, return to tradition of like strong leader, because it's like we've been going like just like soy boy leader forever. Like we've been having just like dude that's just like he went to Harvard, can talk nice, I guess. Like that's been our guy forever. It's like
JD Vance.
Well, yeah. But I think that we've kind of been having like, yeah, I mean, Joe Biden's not like a image of strength or anything like that, and neither is Obama. Yeah. Neither is fucking. I mean, when is the last time we've had a badass president? Never. And I know Trump is not like.
I mean, the closest they got is if Big Mike was president.
Dude, Big Mike. And who knows? Maybe that's on the horizon. That might be the only thing that could really throw a wrench into this whole thing with Trump.
To be honest, I don't see how anyone could beat Trump now.
No, I don't think so either.
Anyone could do it.
I mean, it would be sad you bring out Michelle.
Because again, because again, the assassination attempts takes all of that negative energy that was towards Trump that made him a lot. The point I was making just about the like he's scaring the hose thing, and he makes the lazy voter. He makes it too much effort to support him. Like this, in my mind, reverses all of that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Because it's scared. Now the left is scaring the hose with real violence.
No, exactly, and also like I think it recontextualizes all of that stuff, you know, and just goes like, you know what, maybe those thoughts that I was having about like how like, you know, like these people kind of haven't been acting normal and like how much they hate this guy, like maybe. You know, maybe I'm getting a little bit of breath of fresh air here, and I'm kind of coming up for oxygen, and seeing that like this is actually fucking creepy, and like that this stuff actually all the supposed reasons to hate him maybe like aren't actually a reason to hate him. Maybe it's actually just like these people are fucking unwell.
Yeah.
Which again, I will say this kid is not a fucking Republican. He registered as a Republican to vote in a closed primary. But even if he fucking was, it literally doesn't change. It doesn't change.
I don't think anything about him matters. I don't think that you can look into him any amount you want. I don't think it matters at all for like the overall actual grand arc of what's happened here. Like, I don't think like who shot him, what that guy's political ideologies or belief is. I don't really think that it matters much.
Well, I mean, it would have mattered if it was like a straight up hard in the paint MAGA supporter who like. Or if it was some groiper who did it over, you know, Israel or something, but it's not that. It's not that.
Yeah, I think it's more so like, taking a step back and looking at like the ramifications and the things that led to it is a little bit more important than actually kind of trying to zero in on like what are his motives and stuff. Absolutely. Because I think that's the thing that's like it's easy to get conspiratorial, get caught up in the weeds of being like, oh, well, you know, he was in whatever, you know. There's no digital footprint for him right now or anything. It's like, who knows what he believes or what. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that this thing happened, and it was like functionally a result of all this other narrative building that's been happening for years in front of everyone's eyes, which I think is the important thing. I think for me, this whole thing did is like mostly Trump's response, like kind of recontextualized who Trump is as a person to me, because like, it's easy to be like, you know, you get caught up. He's kind of this goofy guy. Like he's kind of just a goofy, ridiculous imbecile or whatever. Or he's like, oh, he's this evil guy. Or he's like, you know, whatever you might think about him. But this kind of showed me, it's like, he's like a real person. It's like he got shot at. It showed his motive kind of coming and springing into light. It's like when the shit's hitting the fan, he's getting shot at. He's still motivated by the same ego, the same drive that's driving him to do the rest of the stuff. So that's authentic at some level. Now, whether or not you like that, whether or not you think it's good to have a leader with a strong ego, I think it's probably a mixed bag. Like, I think you want to have someone that's like probably got a good handle on their ego, maybe has like experienced some level of like ego death and then rebuilt it. That would maybe be the ideal president candidate, whatever. But you need to have someone that has like a firm ego in order to, you know, be the guy that's leading a fucking nation, especially when you're a powerhouse nation. one of the strongest nations in the Lord, and not the Lord, what the fuck, in the world, and you have hegemony like they do, you got to have someone that is kind of like a bull or like kind of strong-willed kind of guy.
Or a bull moose, you might even say.
Oh, bull moose party! Damn, Roosevelt again. But yeah, so it just kind of, I was like, damn, this dude's really kind of like, I think he's probably a reprehensible human being. Like, he wouldn't be a good friend of mine or anything, but it's like, damn, he's about his shit. And I think that's something. And then you start to look about, what is his shit actually? What is his actual shit? He's not a fucking hard-lined, Nazi. He's not a hard-lined, like, traditional conservative Christian, like, whatever. He's none of these things that the left wants to make him out to be. He was a fucking, like, hotel builder guy. He's like he's a businessman with a national interest. He represents national business interests, whereas like Joe Biden and the rest of them represent like multinational globalist business interest bullshit. And like Trump is just like kind of a guy that like owned like an empire of real estate that was built around kind of like having a good time, like steaks and hotels and casinos and like TV shows and like fucking having sex with prostitutes and like all this stuff. Whether or not you think that's morally upright or good, I don't think it's good. I don't want that to be like the direction we're all heading in.
But the guy's a sleazeball.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of harmless at the end of the day. You're like, he's just like, you can see what he's about. He's a guy. He likes to have money. He likes to use it. He likes to kind of live a certain lifestyle. He's almost like he's doing what an elite should do in some capacity. Not the smart way that an elite should, like, financially, like a reptile, handle their money and the way they should manage their appearance, whatever. But he's living like a guy that has money would live. And he's like living like a guy that wants power would live. And there's something that's honest about it. That's something that, even though he is like a fabricated, his whole thing is like he's made up this fake ego and like this whole vision of himself that he holds, and it's like crazy and all this. Somehow there's still some honesty in that. And I think that's appealing in a way. And I think it's like, it disarms a lot of the scary stuff that's about him. It's like, dude, he's just a guy that likes to have money, go to UFC events, fucking fuck prostitutes, pay him to cover it up. He wants to have a hot wife from fucking some other country.
Actually, this reminds me, this is a little bit of a Hail Mary here, but I want to try something on air real fast. Can you bring up the letter that Melania wrote the other night in response to the assassination attempt? And I want you to read it.
Melania Trump.
Just trust me. Just
letter
trust me.
Or response. I'm looking it up right now.
It's not that long. It'll take a couple minutes to read on air.
I figured it's not that long. She's not a fucking, English is her second language after all. She's not going to write a fucking treatise.
Dude, just read it, though.
Oh my God, here we are.
Read it out loud. Read it out loud, I should say.
July 14th, 2024. I am thinking of you now, my fellow Americans. We have always been a unique union. America, the fabric of our gentle nation, is tattered, but our courage and common sense must ascend and bring us back together as one. When I watched that violent bullet strike my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change. I am grateful to the brave Secret Service agents and law enforcement officials who risked their own lives to protect my husband. To the families of the innocent victims who are now suffering from this heinous act, I humbly offer my sincere sympathy. Your need to summon your inner strength for such a terrible reason saddens me. A monster who recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine attempted to wring out Donald's passion, his laughter, ingenuity, love of music, and inspiration. The core facets of my husband's life, his human side, were buried below the political machine. I mean, this is exactly it's kind of what I was saying. Donald, the generous and caring man who I've been with through the best of times and the worst of times. Let us not forget that differing opinions, policy, and political games are inferior to love. Our personal, structural, and life commitment until death is at serious risk. Political concepts are simple when compared to us human beings. We're all humans and fundamentally, instinctively, we want to help one another. American politics are only one vehicle that can uplift our communities. Love, compassion, kindness, and empathy are necessities. And let us remember that when the time comes to look beyond the left and right, beyond the red and blue, we come from families with a passion to fight for a better life together, while we are here in this earthly realm. Hey, Slav, sorry about that, dude. I was retarded.
It's all good. It's all good. What a cliffhanger. That wasn't the full ending, was it?
I think so. I think it ended with the earthly realm. Here in this earthly realm.
Yeah. I think there was a second page.
Oh, hold on. That's all.
That might.
I'm seeing the second page now. Here we go. Dawn is here again. Let us reunite now. This morning, ascend above the hate, the vitriol, and the simple-minded ideas that ignite violence. We all want a world where each human is... No, sorry. Where respect is paramount, family is first, and love transcends. We can realize this world again. Each of us must demand to get it back. We must insist that respect fills the cornerstone of our relationships again. I am thinking of you, my fellow Americans. The winds of change have arrived. For those of you who cry in support, I thank you. I commend those of you who have reached out beyond the political divide. Thank you for remembering that every single politician is a man or woman with a loving family.
Okay. All right. Confirmed. She's straight up loyal art ho build.
Yeah, dude. She's
like
ride or die.
No, exactly. Like, I love that letter. And in the if that was just like some person writing that, it would be like, yeah, all right. But like in the context of that being like a political letter that's like officially issued, that is like kind of schizo. And I fucking love it, dude. Well, and dude, it totally speaks to what you were talking about.
She's like strong Eastern European woman. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you come after her man, she's going to have something to say about it for sure. Even if, like, who knows? You can speculate what her reasons are for being in the relationship in the beginning or whatever it is. You can do whatever you want to do there. It's not my thing. I don't know what's going on in their life. But she is going to stand by her man and, like, is going to respond. She's got that strong Eastern European tendency in her.
They both got that dog in them.
They both have that dog in them. But yeah, it does go into what I'm saying. Like, she's talking about how the media basically is like all of the things of him being this like evil guy, this fucking political machine. It has obviously dehumanized him, made him a target for violence. And in that, yeah, you forget that he just likes fun. It seems like he's just kind of in it to have a good time. Like, he seems like he's just kind of a guy that wants to have a good time. And like, maybe his vision of having a good time is like he wants more power and he wants this and that. You know, he's an egotistical kind of guy, that kind of thing. But like, at the end of the day, like, he's not like Joe Biden or like these other people that are like these fucking just skin suits for like multinational interests and ultimately for war lobbies. And they're just kind of there to like, just like literally evil placeholders in a way. Like, they're just, I don't even really know what they are. They're not people almost. Trump is like a person. They? I don't know, but
well, and that's why when you were talking about that, it occurred to me just that like there's something really poignant to me about her like appeal to like his capacity for joy and interest in things. And it is just like, music. Oh man. Yeah, and it's like there's like, I don't know, there was something interesting to me about, well, it's not something, it's pretty obvious. It's just like, it's like she's just being emotional and appealing to the fact that he's a human being. And it is just, I don't know, it was fucking interesting. And that's like that's not really like a professional sounding letter to send out.
No. It's almost crazy. Like it's
a little crazy sounding, and I love it.
Well, I think it's crazy in context. So like the whole letter is not like, there's no animosity towards the shooter. There's no like, I can't believe this happened and y'all pushed this on or whatever. It's just basically like, can y'all please just see my husband as a fucking person? What's going on? Like, that's kind of crazy. That like a presidential
pussy from a girl that publishes a kind of crazy letter.
Yeah, whoa. That's huge. That's the top of the needs pyramid. But for real, dude, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's something that this all kind of recentered for me, even for me. And I was never anti-MAGA. I've always had a soft spot for this whole thing. I'm not someone that voted for Trump or whatever, but like, you know, I'm not someone that's going to come on here and act crazy about him either, or act like he's Hitler or whatever.
Yeah, I think when we were like totally Bernie pilled, I feel like there was never really like the like anti-Trump stuff was never. It's always been kind of hard to take seriously, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah, And but even in that, because he is such a political figure, I think this happens with any public figure. I did lose some of the humanity of him, and I think that this recentered that in a meaningful way for me personally.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, wait a minute, yeah. He comes out to like music and dances at his rallies and like has goofy little things and like he goes to UFC fights and just like has fun and he's like a real person. Like he's not like Joe
It's
Biden or fucking these
it's all
like
those
Jeff
it's all those
Bezos.
videos of him like going into like fucking Popeyes and shit and like just talking to these like black ladies that are just
He
like
does
opening
like black
arms.
people too. Yeah.
Well, dude, first black president, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But for real, I think so. Yeah, this whole thing just kind of made me. I was like, you know what? He's like a real person. Maybe me and him don't see eye to eye on many things, and I think that he's got a lot of work to do on his personal image and stuff, and probably will have a couple of lifetimes of work he'll need to do, down the line. But that's not about his political anything that he does politically. That's just me saying like as like a healthy person, he's probably not spiritually there. But I don't expect that to be out of my leaders really in any kind of way. But what he is he's a person, and he's a person that like he has values that are fundamentally in line with America just being stronger and kind of like backing like what it was when he was doing better, just like maybe like the 80s or whatever.
Well,
And so
I think that people really fucking resent and are upset about the fact that this guy who is like so obviously dishonest is so much more like is just exponentially more authentic than like any other politician.
Oh yeah, and more honest. Yeah, more honest with than these other people are, even if he is dishonest the whole time. It's like what you were saying a couple weeks ago when you're like, yeah, I mean the hyperbole that he uses. It's like no one's expecting it to be real. It's not. He's not speaking and saying I'm telling you the truth, and it's like understood. And in that fact, it's like honest in a way. And like him getting up on a stage in that very first debate, we all remember. It's like him talking about, yeah, I paid these people on this stage money. They've taken money from me to do what I wanted for them to do. Like that's what they do here. He's an honest guy. I think that his values aren't in line with mine, like as necessarily, but he also is a business owner who like probably has some degree of understanding you need to keep your employees like happy in some capacity. So I think he has some level of like let's make things all right for workers. Like I don't think he's not like a workers' rights advocate in any kind of real capacity. He's not like
No, certainly.
you know what I mean, whatever. But like I think he understands that for a country to like function well economically, you need to have some sort of kickback for the people that are doing it. In some capacity. And I don't really know that that means like he wants better wages or whatever, but like he wants America to function again in kind of a real capacity. And I think that like that's better than these people who are just fucking mining this dead corpse of a fucking shopping mall and looting whatever they can. It's like Joe Biden and these other people are just like people that are like walking around inside this dead corpse of a shopping mall that's our country and just breaking the last remaining windows to take like whatever fucking Birkenstocks they can get out the store. Like, you know what I mean? They're not leaders. They're not people that are tied to the country. They don't give a fuck about actually. They don't have to operate here and operate in these conditions, so they don't care about it. Whereas like someone like Trump is like, he's an American businessman. He has to operate with like being an American in foreign countries. He's got to operate with like the American dollar having strength. He's got to operate with like I'm an American and like shit's operating good over. You know, he
actually reflects American culture.
Yeah, and whether or not you like it, I think our culture's fucked and vapid, and he is too, and it's obvious.
Yeah, he's ugly and brash and like disrespectful, but like that's also like it's like kind of it's the like our guy thing a little bit,
Yeah, definitely. And so yeah, he's our guy, and like whether or not you like that, that's what we've become, and that's what our guy is. That's a different debate, but he's our guy, and like Biden is like just some other. He's not even a guy really. He's just trying to like take as much shit as he can. He's not. He might not be real. Like, yeah, he's like the guy on the plane, dude. He's just like that. He has an unreal kind of physiognomy almost too. So, anyways, yeah, I think I'm not MAGA pilled because like I also don't want to be lumped in with like. That's the thing too. It's like a lot of people that are in the camp. It's like yeah, you're I don't agree with the things that you agree with. We're going to be supporting the same guy, and that's fine for me. But like, God, I hate when I'm being aligned with you in a meaningful way.
No, like I see memes online of people like showing like the ghost of Hitler deflecting the bullet to Trump, and it's like why can't you guys just be kind of normal?
Yeah, why does this have to be so horrible?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's it's like you think that like for 5 seconds people aren't paying attention to you, and so you need to just be really fucking weird. And it's like, just stop being fucking deranged and fucking kind of evil. For sure. But anyways, I feel like this is probably a great place to leave it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here. Man, I almost want to hit the horrifying house guest again, just as an outro, because I feel like Trump has just really been getting kind of torn up. He got the assassination attempt against him. We just need some good energy towards him.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna end up this maybe I'll just mix in a couple of different outros, but here we go. Thanks for listening, y'all.
These people are sick.
This is obviously a very, very sick individual. These people are the sickest of them all. These people are sick. They are sick. And you better get used to hearing it.
I hang out with Commie Cuomo